Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Abrams, and this is Court Cam.
Call the buzzer. Call the...
Take him back! Take him out!
You die in prison as well.
First up, we're in the 5th District Court in Cedar City, Utah, for the sentencing of Tristan Lamoureux. Lamoureux has just pled guilty to killing his wife, Misty, following an argument in their apartment. According to news reports, she was shot 5 times in the head. When police arrived, they found Misty's body in the bathroom and Lamoureux fleeing the scene. Now in court, Lamoureux sits surrounded by 4 sheriff's deputies who closely watch over him. Judge G. Michael Westfall calls Misty's brother, Jason Wilson, to come up to the front of the courtroom and deliver an impact statement. As he approaches the podium, Wilson shoots an intimidating stare in the direction of the defendant, but Lamoureux seems unbothered as he casually rocks back and forth in his chair. After speaking for a bit, Wilson breaks from his emotional testimony, turns his full attention to Lamoureux. Since the words don't appear to have any effect on Lamoureux, Wilson tries a different approach. Sheriff's deputies step up as Wilson begins speaking directly to the man who killed his sister. Wilson lunges at Lamoureux, but his lawyer pushes Wilson back against the barrier. Lamoureux stands up as if he's ready to rumble, but a deputy slams him to the ground and away from the melee. Chairs are left spinning as deputies drag Wilson to the floor and restrain him. With the courtroom engulfed in chaos, these inmates taking in the scene seem completely unfazed. Moments later, Wilson's cuffed by the deputies. He apologizes for his outburst, and the judge orders him removed. The deputies put the courtroom back in order, and Lamoureux returns to rocking in his chair. According to local authorities, Jason Wilson was not charged for the incident. As for Tristan Lamoureux, he's eventually sentenced to 15 years.
I screwed up. I relapsed. I was clean for 10 years.
Somewhat more serious than the normal case in that you were introducing contraband into a prison setting.
Next, we go to Rice County, Minnesota, in the sentencing of Melissa Ray Gillette. The defendant admits that while visiting her boyfriend Jason Nyberg at the Minnesota Correctional Facility, she slipped him 2 meth-filled capsules hidden in her back pocket. When guards went to Nyberg's cell the next day, he was dead. In addition to the drug charge, the mother of 4 now looking at murder in the 3rd degree. She pled guilty to the murder charge and threw herself at the mercy of the court in hopes of receiving a light sentence.
I feel guilty for what happened to him. He was my best friend. I'm not a cold-hearted killer. I didn't plan to murder him. I didn't plan on going into prison and then having him die. I made a mistake.
Both the defense and prosecuting attorney John Fossum called Nyberg's death an accident and recommended she receive the minimum sentence.
The guidelines for that offense, with no criminal history score, are 74 to 103 months.
Gillette seems to be remorseful, but it's up to Judge Thomas Newville to make the final decision.
You don't have to have intent to kill in order to be guilty of this crime.
The court sincerely hopes that you take advantage of whatever chemical dependency programming is available to you in a prison setting.
The judge goes beyond the minimum, sentencing Gillette to 86 months, or roughly 7 years, in a Minnesota correctional facility. Now to Grand Rapids, Michigan, where 17-year-old Savan Schmuss is awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to an unthinkable crime. The murder of his half-sister, 18-year-old McKenna Hilton. A year earlier, with seemingly no motive, Schmuss strangled McKenna at their home. And afterward, he dumped her body in a wooded area nearby. The death of Hilton, right, well-known recent high school graduate, shook this small-town community. McKenna was Stacy Hilton's only child, and the mom delivers a tearful impact statement to the court.
To my daughter McKenna, I want to say I love you, and I'll always love you. And I'm so sorry that I wasn't there that day to protect you.
As she continues, Hilton turns her attention toward the teen who she had accepted into her own family, and her tone drastically changes.
Savon, I hate you. I will never forgive you. And I hope that when you go to prison, you get exactly what you deserve. I hope that when you come out of prison,
The strongly worded statement draws little reaction from Schmuss. The distraught mother then addresses the judge and reiterates how Schmuss viciously used his own two hands to end her daughter's life.
what he did was so heinous, it was premeditated, it was so hateful, so evil. He doesn't deserve a second chance. McKenna doesn't get one, we don't get one. He doesn't deserve one.
Afterwards, Schmuss passes on making a statement, leaving the judge to deliver some final harsh words along with his sentence.
As a judge, I impose over 1,000 sentences after dealing with several murders and sexual assaults on children. This is the most horrific crime the court has handled. Under the sentencing agreement, the court has discretion to set the minimum sentence between 30 and 40 years. Therefore, the court shall impose a minimum sentence of 40 years and a maximum sentence of 100 years to Michigan Department of Corrections.
The 40 to 100-year sentence means Savon Schmuss will not be eligible for parole until he's 57 years old.
Okay, is everybody ready to listen to me?
Next, we have a child custody hearing in Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right, we're here on...
The plaintiff is Shelby Bachman, and the defendant, Jonathan King. The couple are arguing over visitation rights for their 2-year-old son, Joseph. The issue is King's unpredictable work schedule. The attorneys are Don Prokopius, and for the defense, Machancy Kramer.
Because my client is a UPS driver, his schedule, though, is not a set schedule. It varies. So he has to keep her notified of when his schedule is changing so that she's aware of pickup. She has told him now if he's more than half an hour late, he forfeits his entire weekend and can't see the kid.
Has Joseph gone weekends that he would have expected to see his father without seeing his father?
Has not missed one weekend. Not one.
The threat was made.
I
Not
didn't
one.
ask you if the threat was made. I asked if it happened. You led me to believe that it was happening.
No.
My client has worked with him at times that it was still Saturday morning that he picked up.
There is a problem.
After hearing from both sides, Judge Sandra Pomerantz points to the lack of cooperation between the parents.
What I see here is parties not being creative. But these two need to be adult enough to say, okay, this happened, where do we go from here?
But, Your Honor, and I agree with you. And so what she's done is, on these times where she's worked with him, but then I think it was within the last 2 weekends.
I thought you said you agreed with me.
I do.
Okay, so listen to me. You're going to be done with this case when this case is over and these parties are divorced. They'll never be done with this case. Okay? So rather than complaining to me, it's a discussion with Mr.
Defense.
My client has come up with all kinds of solutions, Your Honor, and it comes down to what Mom wants is what Mom is going to demand.
Okay, I don't buy that.
Well, Your Honor, that's how it is.
What I'm telling you is, have you discussed this issue with Mr. Prokopius?
Yes, I have in the hallway.
Okay. And has it been a matter of making demands or saying, what are we going to do?
No, it's a matter of calling my client
Things begin to get personal, and the judge has a few words for Kramer.
I do have experience with you using inappropriate language.
And you know that I would admit it if I had done it. And if I was going to do it, I would have done it to her face.
You know what? You want to be a sailor? Fine. Go be a sailor in your private life. But don't be a sailor in my court or in your cases.
I didn't.
Again, I don't judge people with sailor language because I use a little sailor language, but only in my private life. Not in my courtroom. Not to a litigant. Not to an attorney. I don't do that because that's not professional. And ma'am, I warn you, one of these days, the State Bar is going to catch up to that. Because if you read the rules, there is an ethical rule about fairness to opposing counsel.
I know that there are also rules about treating people equally with regard regard to race, ethnicity, or gender. I find it highly objectionable that anyone complains about my language, because I know all kinds of male attorneys who have no problem picking up the phone and screaming cuss words at me. So if I am outside there where my First Amendment rights are in full effect, I will say what I choose to say when I choose to say, and that is my right in this country.
Are you done?
But after a few minutes of civility, the counselor starts up again.
We've spent, 5-10 minutes talking about nothing that is relevant to this case because I, as a female attorney, am being chastised over language that men feel free to use every single day, and they do.
You are giving me a headache because you're yelling, and I don't like having
I'm being attacked, Your Honor.
No, you're not. Sit down, counsel. I'm done hearing from you.
Unsatisfied with the parties' solutions, the judge orders an evidentiary hearing, which means the parents will submit evidence against each other and the judge will make a ruling. In a child custody case, it can get ugly.
Your lawyers are going to be painting a picture for me in court. And it's not going to be a great picture of either one of you about the other.
Even after the judge makes her decision, the defense tries one last argument.
Your Honor.
I have nothing more to say, and I want to hear from either one of you. I'm going to set the trial.
I understand that.
So sit down.
The couple's evidentiary hearing is postponed multiple times. It's yet to be heard. Next, we're in Cincinnati, Ohio, for the sentencing hearing of 35-year-old Michelle Lake, evaded vehicular assault, for crossing the center line, causing an accident that severely injured 2 people in an oncoming car. The driver of that other vehicle was Jody Cox.
I still have issues. I still have pain. I still can't walk right. I still have emotional issues. I still see that constantly. And it's affected me a great deal.
I'm so sorry.
A great deal.
I'm so very sorry.
Investigators determined Lake had multiple illegal drugs in her system at the time of the accident, including cocaine, fentanyl, and methadone. The prosecution seeking the maximum allowable sentence of 10 years in prison. And there's a reason why.
She's already been to prison twice. She had another crash that was frighteningly similar to this when she killed a person who only did 2 years.
12 years earlier, Lake was driving under the influence of alcohol and marijuana when she was involved in another accident that killed a passenger in her car. Her license was suspended and never reinstated. When given the chance to speak, Lake acknowledges her long history of substance abuse.
These demons haunt me every day, and the night before the accident, these demons took advantage of the weak state of mind I was in. The decisions that followed will haunt me and the victim's family and my family forever. I'm so very sorry for what happened. I wish so badly I could take that day back.
Before handing down a sentence, Judge Patrick Dinkelacker said he recognized Lake's remorse, but calls her a danger to the community. He agrees with the prosecution and hands down the maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Michelle Lake is overtaken by emotion before being led out of the courtroom as her husband cries out from the gallery.
Love you, man.
In addition to her 10-year prison sentence, her driver's license is suspended for life. Most attorneys will tell you it's a pretty smart idea to stay on the judge's good side when arguing a client's case. What's not a good idea is to accuse said judge of serious judicial misconduct.
And you know there was jury tampering Wednesday. You saw it yourself.
The man dropping that bombshell is Kentucky Commonwealth attorney Larry Rogers. And on the receiving end is Judge Vernon Minyard. And he's not receiving it well.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Rogers. I've never tampered with a damn jury in my life. And don't you ever accuse me of that. Do you understand me?
I heard you, Your Honor.
You better understand me.
See the
Hey,
letter?
don't talk. You better understand me.
Your Honor, there is an investigation. I will let you know. You said you did.
Rogers is actually referring to another case he and the judge are involved in, which includes allegations of jury tampering and corruption in Russell County.
You just said if you become a witness, you have to recuse yourself in this matter.
I don't know what I'd be a witness for. All I did was, there were some jurors that had to be out. I'll yell all I want. This is my court, and I'll do what I want. You understand me?
But I am going
Go sit down. I don't want to hear anything else from you.
Turns out the allegations had no merit, and Rogers himself would later be accused of prosecutorial misconduct in several cases, though those claims would also be dismissed. We now head over to Saginaw County Circuit Court in Saginaw, Michigan, for the sentencing of Ralph Butler. Butler was convicted of second-degree murder in the grisly death of his neighbor and friend, 57-year-old Andrew Cannon. Cannon's corpse was found in a field with over 50 stab wounds. A knife, bloody clothes, and several of Cannon's fingers, which were cut off, were found in the trash bin of a local shop about a mile from the body.
First of all, Your Honor, I have a question. Can I ask him a question? I can. Well, really, I want to know why.
It's been 19 months since the horrific incident, so the pain is still fresh for Cannon's friends and family who packed the courtroom. Before handing down his sentence, Judge Darnell Jackson, who's just off camera, allows Cannon's sisters to address Butler, and they have something to say. First up, Bertha Cannon.
Your Honor, I'm deeply hurt. I speak for my family. We would like to see Ralph at least have 52 years or more for the stabbing of Andrew Cannon, and to stand there and act like, no motion, no nothing. He shows nothing. Nothing. Me and my family make no mistake. We're hurt. Deeply hurt. And those 97% of the people in here is Andrew's family. Andrew Cannon. We're not here, for a show. We're here to say, we got the right person who done this. I don't know if somebody else would, but in my heart, you're the right person. You done this. I wish you life. Life. More than anything. I'm done.
While Butler may receive a life sentence, in the state of Michigan, a second-degree murder conviction still leaves open the possibility of parole. Something that Cannon's other sister, Karen Cannon Mims, finds completely unacceptable.
My brother didn't deserve to go down like this. My mother raised a man. You saw. And I'm asking, I'm praying to God that you see, for every stab wound my brother received, he get 10 plus. For every finger he cut off my brother, he get 20 plus. I want to see him get life without parole. Second degree murder do not work for me. I'm not happy with second degree. People like you are sick. You should have probably got help. Why did you do that to my brother? He can look like he don't know what he done. He don't want to admit it, but we know it. You got him, so keep him. Don't let him out.
Despite the passionate pleas from Andrew Cannon's sisters, Ralph Butler is spared a life sentence. Instead, the 51-year-old receives 66 years behind bars. That's all for this edition of Court Cam. I'm Dan Abrams. Thanks for watching.